Hello everybody, I hope you are all doing good. It's one day before Valentine's Day, so I guess today will be mostly the celebration day. But anyway, this will be the last of the hearts things, and then we're gonna start more like spring stuff. Hold on just a second, I think that it's a bit too dark. Let me brighten it up a little bit. There we go. So hi Elaine, hi Ramona, hi Jessica, hi Sharon, hi Darla, hi Adelaide, hi J9. So what I'm going to start, and I'm going to just show you a few tricks and tips to do, because there are so many ways of making hearts using polymer clay. It's very hard to just go over all of them in a few Sunday lives. This is a very dirty Skinner blend, and what I did, I just made a mix of white pearl with just a touch of magenta pearl, Premo, and then I put little strips of magenta pearl, and I just folded and passed it through the machine a few times. As you can see, it's a very, very dirty Skinner blend. It's more like lines and stuff. But what I'm going to do some extra stuff to it. And what I'm going to do is to grab a little bit of white pearl and a little bit of gold. I forgot to grab the gold. It's always that, huh? Always forget to do something. And you don't really have to do necessarily gold. You can use copper or even bronze if you want. So I just grabbed some copper. On the other, as I wasn't able to do the February Saturday chat on the first Saturday of the month. I didn't tell you, and now I can tell you real short that I'm finally, my sleep seems to be getting a little bit better, because I've been having this really bad sleep issues where I would wake up anywhere between 2:30 and 3:30 a.m. and not be able to fall asleep again. So it doesn't matter what time I would go to bed. And also I'm really not really able to go to bed like at 7:30 to get enough sleep, and then as a result I would be all tired throughout the day. And I finally started getting better on that. I'm only waking up at, I gained about an hour and a half. I'm waking up between 4:30 and 5:30, so I'm starting to feel a little bit better. Yeah, for me it's been happening since like September of last year. And I had a telehealth thing, and apparently the thing that also doesn't allow me to rest properly, as you can see I'm making little strings, to rest properly is since I had the cataract surgery, and this is one of the possible side effects of cataract surgery, your eyes can get dry, and the lacrimal gland is the one that is pretty much responsible for the liquid in your nose. So I started experiencing dry eyes. I did have for like almost 3 months I took a special prescription eye drops, and it's quite expensive, so the insurance needs to be very cajoled about it. But anyway, the thing started getting worse and worse. And the thing is that my nose gets dry during the night, but not just simply dry, stuffy dry. So at one point, I just cannot breathe anymore, and it happens that I might wake up, because I don't know why my body doesn't want to breathe on the mouth. So I wake up during the night feeling that I cannot breathe anymore, and I need to get up and, you know, flush my nose, use a neti pot. And my doctor was like, well, do you use teardrops? I said, yeah, I do use teardrops every day, only that I don't use them while I'm sleeping, obviously. So, well, sometimes I do take a nap because I simply fall asleep because I'm so tired. I mean, you know, you can only function for so much on only like 4 hours of sleep. But anyway, it started getting a little bit better, and my doctor is going to try and get those eye drops approved again. She said, we don't know if the insurance is going to approve them, but we'll see. So what I'm going to do, and be very, very careful about it, your strips have to be very, very thin. If you cannot make them this thin, your best bet is to get the clay on the thinnest setting on the pasta machine, and then cut very thin strips with it. Like, see, this one is still not thin enough. They need to be about 1 millimeter long, thick, not thicker than that. And then I'm going to place first, and you just place them kind of randomly. Of course, I didn't cut this. I've been busy the last 3 days with sanding and buffing and sanding some more and preparing stuff, so hopefully soon I'll be able to put out the decluttering the clearance packages. Hi Sandra, hi Gail, hi Ilyanka. So I'm going to very gently burnish them a little bit. Then I'm taking the white and I'm going to place it kind of like almost on top of the gold, or respectively copper, whatever you decide to use. Do not use silver. It doesn't look good on pink. So, and I'm going to place this, as I said, kind of like half on top of the copper and half beside it, and then I'm going to place a few more very thin whites here and there. Even if they might not all be perfectly straight. There's a method to this madness. Hi here, Sona. And now it's going to be burnish time. So first use your finger, always with the wax with the shiny side towards the clay. Your idea is that you want to push down those strips in the existing clay. There we go. And then the next thing is I'm going to get it through the pasta machine. It doesn't matter, you can use 18 excuse me, 18 karat gold, you can use regular gold, you can use copper, and even bronze if you want, because all it's going to do is to just do a little bit of a shading here, and also some mica shift effects. Now I'm going to get it through the machine on a thin setting. And there we go. And remove this extra, put it aside. And what I'm going to do is simply do a very fast Bargello. And it doesn't even have to be very thin cut. So to do a Bargello, you cut strips, and then you place them about the same, how thick your strip is, count and place it to the side. And after you get at a certain distance, you start going back. And this is the best way to do the Bargello fast. Cut, pull it like this, place it, then tilt the blade over it so that it would drop it on the on the clay. And this is just, excuse me, this is just scrap clay on a thin setting. And again, you go up to a point, and then you start going back. So that you will obtain this very nice zigzaggy design. And a few more, and then I guess we'll be just fine. We can create a heart out of it. If you have problems eyeballing how thick your little slice is, little strip is, you can use one of those graph papers. Let's see. I need a few more. If you want to use a regular heart cutter, you'll have to make this a little bit wider. Whenever you design the width, you always have to think about how much you're going to go back and forth, but generally design it like if you would need double the width, this width. And there we go. This should be good enough. Now one more burnishing, and this time I want to press this in the existing scrap clay. Yeah, I tried the humidifier. Hi, Silver. I tried the humidifier and it's not working, and unfortunately my doctors asked a specialist about the CPAP. Even if I told her, I very much doubt I would be able to sleep with the CPAP. I'm very sensitive about noises during my sleep. But the doctor said that it wouldn't work because the CPAP is designed for those tissues to push them away out of the way, but all it would do on the dried nose issue would be to dry it out even more. So unfortunately. So there we go with this, and I didn't grab the small one. I am not going, hi Joanne, how are you? I'm not going to use the tiniest one, and honestly I wish that they would have done one size higher for this, because unless you make some very tiny stuff, this is almost not useful, while a larger one would have been much better for pendants. Is nowadays everything seems to be more inclined to large things. I have a Finnegan here. Okay, now let me try and find a good place to place this. And now you can do this as is and just place. Now remember, this is all pearlescent, so once it is sanded and buffed or resined, you won't see the full beauty of it, right? So you can leave this as is and just create it like this, which will look very pretty. Or the other thing that you can do is to grab, let's say, a little bit of gold. Gold, magenta, sorry. A little bit of magenta, and you can use the red pearl as well if you want to. And we are going again with the white. Let me actually get some red because I think it will look much better with the red pearl. And something I might have to order soon is more metallics Premo, if I can find any. This is not metallic. I guess we'll have to work. What did I do with the white? I had the white right here. Goodness. Gremlins. Yeah, Bargello is actually named like this because it's a specific tapestry technique that uses this kind of design, and Don't give me a second here. And also needlework. I mean, tapestry, it's not a woven one, but it's a needlework one. Let me show you some for people who don't know. So these are some Bargello, various Bargello things, but the main thing is this. And you can see that you can create this effect with polymer clay just by having lines. And I think that my second or third ever video, let's actually look, was a Bargello one. And of course the quality is abysmal compared to what I'm doing now. Let me get them by the oldest. So it was the third one, and I redid it a little bit later because at the time I had a regular web camera, but I didn't have a holder, but I had a tripod, so the camera was hanging from a wire. So what I used in this specific one was the cane from my very first tutorial that I've put up there. And then for this cane I also redid the cane for easier understanding, because a lot of people liked it. But anyway, so if you want to watch that, simply go on my channel and look at the, yeah, it's not looming, it's stitching. Okay, so I'm just getting this, and I'm only going to use very tiny bits because I'm not going to do a big deal out of it. It's kind of more reddish magenta and a thinnish magenta and white. You can also use some gold in there, but 18 karat. This time you really need an 18 karat. So you saw I just got them one on top of the other. Now I am stacking them again. Let me see if it's thin enough, or if I need to. Yeah, I need to thin it out. I said, and remember that I have a Mokume gane mini series. But generally speaking, when you want to do Mokume gane for the best, number one, don't use too many colors. In my mini series, especially in the first tutorial, and you can find them on my channel on the playlists, I explained color theory and how to choose your colors. Don't use too many colors, don't use too many deformations, don't use don't make it too thick or too thin. So in my experience, the best Mokume gane effects you can get is when you have your layer thickness is about 1/4 of a millimeter. So if you have 4 layers being about 1 millimeter, that is your best thinness to have a nice Mokume gane. So I want it just a little bit to be about the length of this, right? And I'm going to give it a few. When you use cutters, use the dull side. It's much better than the sharp side because it's going to do more deformation. You're welcome, Ilyanka. So let me get something else here. Let's get a just going to get a heart here, just for, you know, shits and giggles. Okay, then consolidate this. Pretty good. I'm going to get a little piece of this. To place my stuff. That's my, there we go. And I'm not putting this away for good. We're gonna do something else with it. Okay, so I'm going to shave. Not sure if I'm going to be able to shave a full. And yes, that's pretty much how you want it. Very, very dense and of a brighter hue than the stuff that you have here. Much more intense hue. Okay, now comes again burnishing. And of course you can do more tiny ones. You can use the smallest form if you so want. And you want this to be about the same height as, the same thickness as this. Alrighty. And again, as I said, you can leave this like this, but I'm showing you another, I can bring it up another notch. And burnish some more. Now let's grab again a little bit of white. I know it looks a little bit very very confusing right now, but it's going to look much better here in a second. Again, and you can do, as I said, you can do this by making a string, or you can simply cut a very thin, and I wouldn't go perfectly straight. I'm going to go slightly diagonalish because I want to grab some of this. Now remember something, when you're working with pearlescent slash metallics, the final prettiness of it is not going to show up until you have it baked, sanded, and or buffed or resined. I always recommend a little bit of sanding whenever you work with metallics or pearlescents, for the simple reason that when you sand, there's going to be, whenever you do any kind of mica shift or anything, whenever you burnish it, when you make it even, there's going to be a very, very thin layer at the very top where the mica particles, instead of being like this or like this in their mica shift thingy, they are going to be turned like this by the simple motion of burnishing or rolling or whatever. So when you do, you have to do a very slight sanding, very slight. Whenever you do the sanding, it is going to remove those, so you will get a much prettier effect. And we did this, and then comes burnishing again. And it doesn't have to be super perfect. Apply it as best as you can. If you have problems applying it, you can always gently place the cutter on top of this and then just go with the strip around it, and then you lift the cutter. But it's going to still look pretty even if it's not super perfectly straight. And then press. Now we want to do a little bit of burnishing, as usual, with your finger first. Then you can use the roller, but just to rub, not to roll. Or you can use a tiny acrylic thing. And then finally, of course, I'm going to cut this one more time because it got a little deformed with all this burnishing thing. And to make it show exactly how it looks like in the end, I'm going to resin it. Yes, once you sand it and you can already see how it's going to look like, because mica shift piece, when it's wet, it's going to look exactly like it's going to look once it's buffed or varnished. So And there we go. And while this will be getting hardened, I will show you, of course, ideally, if you want to do a very, very pretty job with this, ideally you bake it first and then you sand it a little bit, if possible without removing it from the tile you bake it on. And then you resin it, because it's going to be still stuck to the tile, but it's going to be even shinier than just plain like this. But I am resining it so you can see better how it actually will look like once it's, come on, once it is done. Now, what I'm going to do with this, it's going to be kind of interesting. So I'm going to first kind of fan fold it a little bit. And you'll have to pay a lot of attention to what I'm doing here once I'm getting to the final thing, and then I'm going to stack it. So this should be about the proper length. Then, no, sorry, then you cut it, cut several slices, how many slices you can cut from it. You can make it thicker, you can make it thinner, it's entirely up to you. I'm not sure if this is going to show right. Let me do a short black and white, because it's going to look much better. Give me just a second. Red and white, not black and white. Are you playing with me or what? Okay, so I'm going to just simply cut strips. You can do a pinstripe if you want, cane, using this, but I'm going to just cut them and place them together. Because I think this is how you're going to figure out better, see better what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm simply making a striped thing. Burnished. And of course, as I said, if you make a striped cane, it's going to be easier if you just put them one on top of the other, but I'm doing this faster. Now the thing is, and you can make it with more than these stripes, you can make them thinner. Okay, so what's happening now, I'm going to cut, so let's say the half is here, right? I'm going to cut this close to the half, and then I'm going to cut it on the other side also close to the half, and separate them. And on this one I'm only separating this. Now so you have almost like a K, right? Almost. Cut this off. So this one goes like this one goes like this. Very important. And then this one goes like this. This one doesn't get a diagonal cut. Now very, very gently, and you can use a toothpick if you want to help you better do this. Very gently roll this. Now start rolling, and you always start rolling from the longest, so these will be both in the same general idea. And you can make this actually also as a cane. So you have this bottom ones, or the ones on the right, almost like an S, and this one also gets rotated. I didn't cut it deep enough. Turn this almost like a circle, and then make a cut like this, round cut in here, push this one in, make a round cut here, and push this one in. I kind of deformed them because I'm starting to hurt. I have no idea why. I already am starting to hurt. But this should be a... Let me shave it off a little bit so it would be better seen. And there we go. So you can see much better what's going on here. And you're gonna say, what the heck did you do that for? What does it mean? I'll show you. It kind of, you have to measure things, not do eyeballing like I just did, but the idea is very a little bit even more. I'm not sure if I made it wide enough, but the idea is that it fits perfectly a heart shape. I need to make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, I'm getting there. Unfortunately, if this was yesterday, it would have been much better, but today and tomorrow we are getting a little bit worse weather, so my body is responding to that. Anyway, it fits perfectly in hi Colleen. Theoretically it fits perfectly in a heart shape, so that you'll have almost like a triquetra thingy. The idea is that you get one spiral on this side of the heart, one spiral on this side of the heart, and the last spiral on the very bottom. And this also, if you make it with the pearlescent slash translucent. Okay, now let's take a look at this one. Let me refocus. So you can see it close up. Okay, so this is how it looks like. You can see the slight copperish goldish there, and how it separates the whole thing. And as I said, the pearlescent comes out only once it's all shinied up. Come back, come back, come back, come back. There we go. There we go. Yeah, that's unfortunately something I have to live with. I'm happy as long as I can still do at least close to an hour. I am perfectly happy with it. Thank you, Ramona. But as I said, these are very simple, and you can do them with all kinds of scrap stuff. I know I could have shown you how to do things with canes and things, but before I get in too much pain, let me show you something else real quick, real quick. But because it is a game of color, you're going to have to use these specific colors. Okay, let me get to them. I need to get back in here and arrange them by color affiliation. Is this the brown or the... No, this is the brown. I don't want the brown. Okay, you will need alizarin crimson. You will need cadmium yellow, black, a little bit of orange, and some cadmium red and some chili red. Grab a little piece of chili. And as I said, you need to pay a lot of attention to what I'm doing with the colors, because it's very important. Okay, so I have chili red. You can skip one of these two. You can use just one. Then I have orange. You can use orange, you can use tangerine. I think I have here tangerine. Then a little bit of cadmium yellow, alizarin crimson, and black. You can mix a pinch of green, but I go more for the wasabi. And actually, let me grab a pinch of wasabi. All right, now something I have to do is, got a little bit too much of it. For what I want to show you, it's going to take only a little bit, so no need for so much. I'm going to put them back after this whole thing. And I want my alizarin crimson a little bit in a sheet, not much, and the black as well. Push together the orange and the reds. As you can see, I put the orange in the middle, one of the reds on one side, one of the reds on the other side. Now, do a little bit of wrapping, and you can actually add a pinch of orange here to the yellow. Wrap the yellow in alizarin crimson. You can also use some brown in here. Then a thinner black around the half of the alizarin crimson, and then the wasabi kind of like half wrapped in black. Now comes the chopping job. Chop kind of bigger chunks of the alizarin crimson wrap. Also bigger, a little bit smaller, but still on the bigger side, chops of the wasabi, smaller chops of the red with orange, reds and oranges. I'm gonna say, what the heck are you crazy woman doing there? You'll see here in a minute. Okay, now I'm gonna toss a little bit the reds and smush them. Toss a little bit the wasabi and smush it a little, and then smush it on top of the reds. Toss these other ones and smush them on the other side of the reds, then the wasabi. Now you have the reds, alizarin crimson with yellow and orange on one side, the wasabi with black on the other side. Kinda consolidate it into a relative rectangle, but make sure that the pieces are well stuck together. And you want it to be, depends on the cutter you're going to use, so this needs to be a little bit taller and a little bit wider. Consider half of a cutter, right? So a little bit taller, and now I'm going to cut it in half. To be able to cut properly, I'm going to affix my thing against an acrylic block. Make sure that the bottom is straight here. Make sure it's very well stuck to the acrylic, and then I'm going to cut it in half. This won't be a perfect cut because I cannot look from above. And we have a Natasha bead. And because of the way that they are done, the reds will always form on top of it something very much like the top of the heart, if you do it exactly the way that I told you. Thank you, Adelaide. Okay, it needs to be a little bit even wider. There we go. This should work just fine. And just make sure that you place the heart right in the middle of the Natasha. That's all you need to do. You have a relative Natasha heart that looks almost like a landscape on fire. This is how it's going to look. No matter how you chuck those, it's going to, oh yeah, I know, it's beautiful. It's going to look like something on fire. And of course you can burnish it and you can sand it afterwards, but this is pretty much the combination of colors that I wanted to tell you. It's a froggy. You saw a froggy? Bye, froggy. Okay, and you can twist them a little bit, but make sure that you don't mess up the separation between the three combinations of colors that I told you: the wrapped, alizarin crimson wrap, the wasabi, and the reds. The reds should be pretty much on the bottom, on the top where the hearts are, and the wasabi on the bottom. But you can cut several. As I said, I'm reaching my, I would have cut that thing in 4 and make 2 Natashas, but my hands start blooping. Okay, thank you so much, and next Sunday we'll make something spring-like. All right, thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful week, and hopefully, if I manage to do finish any of the sanding and putting together, I'm going to get on a live maybe Saturday afternoon. But it all depends on how my hands work. Because Wednesday, Thursday we might get thunderstorms. So it's just the ends. The other side, it's nothing terrific, but it's too dark of a combination to use in a Mokume gane, honestly. Thank you so much. See you all next Sunday, and have a great, great, great week. Bye.